Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith here at the National Weather Service in Pocatello, Idaho. This is your weather hazard briefing for Monday, October 13th. We have a break in the weather. It's not going to last long. So if you're looking for a window where conditions are drier across the forecast area, actually pretty much completely dry for most of you today. Also warmer temperatures than what we've seen over the past day or so, day or two here with some rain and snow shower activity. Today's the day. Today is the warmer and drier day, looking at the forecast here for the next week. By the time we get into tonight, into tomorrow, we're going to turn wetter. We're going to see widespread rain and snow shower activity. Those snow levels will gradually be dropping from 6,500 feet, from about 7,500 feet to as low as 6,500 feet as we go over the 3 days. And we're looking for a really deep southerly wind to develop out ahead of a low-pressure system along the coast. And by pattern recognition here, this is a favorable flow for some decent accumulating rain and snow across portions of the southern central mountains. If we were in the middle of winter, we'd be talking about potentially significant snow accumulations for places like the Wood River Valley. However, because of the temperatures, because that we're in October, early October here, we're really expecting accumulating snow to be confined to the higher elevations, particularly above about 7,000 feet up in that area, 7 to 7,500 for actual meaningful accumulation on the ground. So most of our population centers actually should hold with mostly rain for this event. Maybe a little bit of mixing, but not a lot of accumulating snowfall. But it is a favorable pattern for the southern central mountains, particularly as you go up in elevation, to see some pretty good moisture out of this as it moves into the region. Weather risk outlook here for the period shows all of that unsettled weather coming our way. We're kicking things off cold this morning, though, here in the Snake Plain with a freeze warning in effect until 10 a.m. Magic Valley, eastern Magic Valley, a frost advisory. Temperatures into the 20s for some locations here in the Snake Plain and getting close to freezing as you head southwest out toward the eastern Magic Valley. Otherwise, here's your drier and eventually warmer day as we get into this afternoon. Maybe a few showers creeping in to the South Hills or South Central Highlands this evening. And then we get unsettled for our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even lingering into Friday storm system here. And you can see the more yellow we build each day, that's where we're mixing more and more snow shower activity at certain elevations into the forecast. Again, most of the actual accumulations out of this system currently expected to remain above 7,000 feet. And that's not only for the South Central Mountains, but for higher elevations over toward the Wyoming border as well. We'll look at that graphically here in just a moment. Only alerts that we have in effect for our local southeast Idaho forecast area, again, is that freeze warning in effect here for portions of the Snake Plain and Arco Desert, and then the frost advisory as you head down into the eastern Magic Valley. Probably not going to see frost freeze issues again for a couple days until we get on the colder side of this system. And certainly I know for a few of you, probably done with the growing season at this point, as we've had several cold snaps here over the past couple weeks. Outside the area, still seeing some snow shower activity too, with some winter weather advisories as you head further north. Current satellite, a couple things to pick out here. First, our approaching low pressure system is spinning right here, counterclockwise, not far from the Seattle area here this morning on the satellite. And you can see that spin here in the loop. And out ahead of it, you can see this southwest to south flow of cloud cover. This is that southerly flow that's really going to kick in today. So while we start out cold this morning, we're going to get dry and warm for this afternoon. And then eventually, though, this is going to have enough moisture with it that the southerly flow is going to allow shower activity to break out as we go into the overnight hours tonight. So again, short-lived break for one day, but that southerly flow out ahead of that low supporting that activity, and again eventually bringing in some decent moisture to the southern central mountains. This low for the next day and a half is actually going to track southward along the Pacific coast before finally kicking inland. Radar this morning, dry across our local area. You can see there are some areas of rain and snow further to the north and west, generally not affecting our local area here this morning. We'll take a run through temperatures here first. Today, much warmer readings than what we've seen the past couple days. Even up into the central mountain valleys, we're seeing temperatures in the 50s by the time we get into this afternoon, after much colder, of course, this morning, and 60s are expected here up and down the Snake River Plain. You can see even 70 in the forecast here as you head west toward Glenn's Ferry. So that south flow is certainly going to pick those temperatures up. It's going to feel quite nice by this afternoon for most of you out across southeast Idaho. Not a big change for tomorrow. You can still see 50s and 60s for most lower elevation population centers, even as we start to rain over the region, even as we start to mix some snow into the higher elevations here in the southern central mountains and eventually into the mountains over here toward the Tetons and the Big Holes, but not really backing those temperatures down just yet as we go into Tuesday. A few thunderstorms, isolated thunderstorms possible with that activity as well, kicking off on Tuesday. We'll see a bit more of that on Wednesday as well. Not expecting severe weather in the form of damaging winds, large hail, anything like that out of this system. Now we start to cool. So as we get into the latter part of the system here, these are your high temperatures, your warmest temperatures for Wednesday. Suddenly those 60s are replaced by 50s here in the eastern Magic Valley up the Snake Plain corridor. You can see Galena Summit only making it to 37, so not too far off from where those more significant snow accumulations may be occurring. We'll look at that in just a sec. A lot of places losing about 10 degrees off the temperatures for Wednesday, and then continued on the cooler side for Thursday. Island Park only 42, 43 in Driggs, still making it to the low 50s here for Burley and Pocatello. Okay, snowfall. Let's look at 3 days here. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This kind of covers pretty much the entire long duration event here. First thing you'll notice is most of the cities that are labeled on our map are not really getting much of any snow. Again, this is a very elevation-dependent precipitation type event. If we were in the middle of winter, this would look much different, but expecting predominantly rain, particularly below about 6,500 to 7,000 feet. Galena Summit right on the edge. You're going to be very close to that rain snow line at times, expecting maybe an inch or two. Could see some slush over Banner Summit, Galena Summit, up here at Tarhee Summit, Reynolds Pass, Tarhee Pass, seeing a little bit of that as well. But most of our actual communities here not seeing much at all. But you can see, look at the southern central mountains here, some of the peaks as you get up into the highest elevations exceeding a foot of snow in our current 3-day forecast, and certainly the case over here as you get into far western Wyoming as well. Here's your probability of exceeding 1 inch of snow or reaching 1 inch or more of snow out of this event. Again, 77% chance at Galena, but as soon as you drop in elevation just a little bit, only 13% chance at Ketchum of seeing 1 inch of snow out of this system. Island Park, we're going to have to watch to see where the rain-snow line ends up as far as the snow level, but right now only a 7% chance of reaching 1 inch of snow out of this system. You guys just saw about 4 or 5 inches, 4 to 6 inches of snow out of the system that just affected you over the past couple days here. So right now this is looking like a little bit less than that. There is actually a probability of seeing a foot, and you can see particularly, again, the mountains here surrounding the Wood River Valley, the mountain ranges on either side of Mackey Reservoir, seeing a 20 to 40% chance of seeing a foot of snow in the backcountry up high in elevation. So again, a good favorable pattern for significant moisture there, but it's going to be very elevation dependent as far as actual snow accumulation. For everyone else, it'll be raining. Here's your expected total precipitation. This is rain and melted snow, but of course, for most communities that are labeled on the map, this is going to be all rain. And you can see we're as low as 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch here in the eastern Magic Valley, more like 1/4 to 1/2 an inch up most of the Snake Plain, 1/2 an inch to over an inch here in the east as you head toward the Wyoming border. I wouldn't be surprised if we see amounts here in the forecast increase just a little bit here across the southern central mountains. I know this is topping out here at only about 3/4 of an inch in the mountains surrounding the Wood River Valley, but with that favorable wind flow, wouldn't be surprised if some locations pick up closer to 1 inch of total liquid, again, rain and or snow, depending on your elevation. So that's what we're looking at here. Again, warmer, drier today. If you're looking for the break, if you're looking to go outside, today is the day. And then we get quite unsettled here as we go through the week. And stay tuned as we continue to evaluate that potential for high elevation snowfall. If you have questions, comments, concerns for us, please feel free to reach out. And everyone have an outstanding Monday.